And hello and welcome to Get a Grip with Coach Elix. This is your host, Coach Elix, coming to you live from our home in Cape Cod and looking at this beautiful winter wonderland out our window. And with me, not on the same room, but on the floor above me, is my co-host.
Well, good afternoon. This is Stephen the Medium.
Stephen the Medium is here, and as you guys know, we're doing our show from our home thanks to the generosity of our general manager and our producer, Mark, who are supporting us and making this happen. So, Mr. Stephen the Medium, how are you?
Well, I am all smiles because all I need to do is look out the window.
I know it. He's an Eskimo. He loves the winter. The more snow, the colder he's in his element. Me, I'm from Puerto Rico. I'm not an Eskimo. So while I love looking, the scenery is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. We're looking at a winter wonderland. But just before we started our show, I was actually doing some shoveling because we have a lot of space to shovel and make room for the dogs, and so that was not that much fun. It was really cold and it's icy and it's messy and all of the above. So I'd rather be inside looking at the outside.
Oh,
Yes.
please. Yesterday, I did everything that you did today, and it was way more, and it was heavy ice, like watered down ice. You had little fluffy snow that you were like skipping with a broom, and the wind was blowing it, so you didn't even do anything.
Oh well,
You sneezed, and the whole front porch was clear.
it didn't feel that way, but then again, you love winter, me not
Yes.
so much.
Yes.
Stephen, it's waiting for the next storm, and
Yes.
that can dump much more snow and much more cold. But
Yes.
that's the difference. That's why we balance each other. So I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you survived this storm. We're coming up to, oh my God, Christmas is right around the corner. Are you
I know.
ready?
No.
I'm not ready either, but it is what it is. This year is going to be sort of quiet Christmas, which is a great thing for us. My mom is with us, so we intend to have a nice, quiet Christmas. She's been quarantined because she came from Atlanta, so she's quarantined. She took a COVID test, and we're waiting for the COVID results.
But she's doing good, though. She's doing very good, very well, and we're going to have a fantastic Christmas. And, people shouldn't be concerned about Christmas gifts and Christmas presents and all of that. That's a normal year. This is such an irregular year that we just being healthy and being with each other and being able to say I love you to whether it's virtual or whether it's in person, and hopefully in person's just the people you live with, and virtual is the other way. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and that brings to two things. One of them is I want to tell people that what was it? The round table Wednesday. Wednesday.
Yes.
So last Wednesday I did a round table with the European Collective, which is a group of 14 other authors that wrote the book, Changing Conversations for a Changing World. I'm privileged to be one of the authors. I wrote chapter 2, which is called Follow Your Yellow Big Road to Greatness. And it was an awesome, really an incredible time where I had an opportunity to chat with people from all over the world and tell them about my story, tell them about my chapter. And so if you joined, thank you for joining me. It was just, Stephen was there. And what did you think of it, Stephen?
It was remarkable. As I mentioned to you, there were so many people on this Zoom call, and the audience was really, honestly, was mesmerized by you explaining your chapter in this book. They really were. You could see it in their faces. Every single person was just listening to every word you said, and in your explanation and your take on what the subject of your chapter was. It was such an incredible experience.
Yeah, and again, my chapter is about getting a grip to greatness, getting a grip to create, the life of your dreams. And I use the metaphor of the Wizard of Oz, the Yellow Brick Road, as a roadmap, to follow your pathway and get a grip on that. So if you want to learn more about that, number one, you got to get the book. It's available on Amazon. And the more books, the more chances we have to make it a best-selling book. It's an extraordinary book, and it's really 15 different stories from a very diverse group of authors, high-performing leaders, coaches, consultants from all around the world, and I'm very privileged to be one of them. But my point is that the table, that round table, was recorded, and it will be posted in my social media very soon. So if you didn't get an opportunity to join, tune in and listen to the recording, because it will be inspiring. Not because it was me talking, but because it was really an opportunity to hear questions from others and hear a different perspective from a really diverse group of people from all over the world. So, having said that, that brings me to number 2. You talked about this Christmas is going to look very different, and and oftentimes people focus about everything that's gone bad this past year, and you have a very special event coming up. So why don't you tell people about what that event is?
Why, thank you. And I wasn't even looking for a plug, see? So my event is going to be January 10th, 2021. It's a Sunday at 2 o'clock for 2 hours, and it is titled 2021, It's Time to Meet Yourself. So I wanted to do this event for many reasons, but the biggest reason was because of what we've experienced in 2020. And I know the majority of people that have had aspirations or goals or dreams that they've never come to fruition, that they have never also been so close to getting there because of, none of us in our lifetime, your mom is 95 years old. She's never even experienced what we've just experienced in 2020 with this pandemic. So it's a different place our brains are at. It's a different place our souls are at. And I think this is going to be a fantastic event that is really going to give the 5 most important things Spirit wants us to know, just getting in sync with your own universe, and so much more. But it really is to take advantage of leaving 2020 and coming into 2021 and making it the most extraordinary year coming up. And also, I'm highlighting that I'm going to be doing notes. If you haven't seen me do this or heard of this, you just need to sign up just for that. So I actually write notes that are given to me from your loved ones who have crossed, and they tell me exactly what to say in these notes. I transcribe them, and then I read the notes for the audience and for the people that these notes are applicable to. So I'm really, really excited about it. And you can just go to stephenthemedium.com, my website. If you're not on any social media, to get tickets, you have to register for this. It's a Zoom event. And if you are on Facebook or Instagram, both Stephen the Medium, you can find the link on both.
Yeah. So again, this is a great opportunity to listen to Stephen and get a perspective on how to focus on what's possible and how to make 2021 perhaps the most extraordinary year of your life. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity. I'll be there, and I'm hoping you guys will be there as well. So now today we are going to have back Miss Kay. Miss Kay is an executive producer working in Hollywood, and she also happened to be a client of mine many, many, many years ago. And I often get asked the question of what is coaching? How does it work? And I thought, what best bring someone who has had tremendous life, navigating ups and downs, setting very clear goals as to what it is she wants, having a very clear vision as to who she is, and then dealing with the roadblocks that get in the way along the way, but not letting those roadblocks sort of like stop her from pursuing what she wants. So she's just an amazing human, somebody who's incredibly inspiring. And last week we started our conversation, but it was so insightful, so thought provoking. We really couldn't complete the conversation, so I've invited her to join us back again today. So after we come back from the break, she will be joining us. So this is a great opportunity to listen, to call in. By the way, anyone, if you have any questions or you want to join in the conversation, always call in. The phone is always available, open, 508-222-1320. So I think we're ready for a break. And when we come back, we're going to join Miss Gay, Hollywood producer, and one of my most inspiring, extraordinary clients will be here with us. So we'll be right back. And hello and welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Elix. It is a beautiful Friday afternoon, winter wonderland in New England, and we're coming to you live from Cape Cod. And with me, it's my co-host.
Well, hello.
I was going to say, is he still with me?
Of course I am.
Stephen the Medium, not only my co-host, but also my husband and my partner in crime. And super excited to have one of my besties, a client, a Hollywood executive producer, Miss Gay, is back with us.
Hi, hello. Good morning, good afternoon. All those things.
Welcome back, Miss Gay. And of course, this is Coach Elix, and with me is Mr. Stephen the Medium.
Hello, Miss Kay. We're so excited.
Thank you. Me too. Thank you.
So last week, Miss Kay, we started a conversation about using you as a case study, as a coaching case study, so that we can give people a perspective as to the power of coaching and what is possible when when you have somebody that can be your success partner, your listening partner, your accountability partner, and the kind of results that are available and what's possible. So why don't we start with this? Why don't you give our listeners a little perspective as to who you are, paint a picture as to what Miss Kay's life was back in the year 2000 when we first met, and what has happened along the way and where you are today, and then we'll sort of navigate the conversation. But why don't you paint a picture for our listeners?
Sure. Okay. When we met back in 2000, I was someone who, gosh, how do I paraphrase this? um, I was someone who was, I would say, a little angry at the world. I felt like my opinions or my thoughts or my voice didn't matter. And it was very frustrating for me. And I wanted more for myself and my life and my future. I definitely did not want a repeat. And I didn't want that to continue. And I didn't know how to do that. And I didn't have that actually distinguished at the time either. So that was what I was struggling with, I guess, is to not only figure out who I was and to find my voice, but to also quit being angry at everyone. And to quit blaming, not that, again, I had this distinguished, but to quit blaming everyone else for my suffering or my problems. That was definitely something that was prevalent in my life at the time. And since then, where are you going to start? Go ahead.
No. I was going to ask you because you say you knew what you were sort of looking for, but you didn't have it quite distinguished. So I'm just curious, like how did you get
Gotcha.
clarity? Like how did that come to the surface for you?
Great question. That came to the surface for me by conversations with you, to be quite honest. In listening to your coaching, really, and through those conversations, I would say I was able to distinguish what it was I was looking for within a couple of days. It didn't take me very long to pinpoint what I wanted and where I wanted to be, but I still at that time didn't have a clear path on how to get there. But I at least, through conversations with you, I was able to identify the building blocks for how to essentially get where I wanted to be. And in the immediate future, that was communication, and it was not being afraid to practice poor communication. And I say that because it was a new thing for me to, one, identify or clarify what it was that I wanted, but two, to ask for it. And there was a lot of learning. I guess there was a learning curve on how to do that in a way where I was able to start connecting the dots and clicking with people, because I didn't realize that I didn't know how to communicate effectively. And in trying to just communicate and ask for what I wanted, I learned that, I'm not doing this well enough to get where I want to go. And two, I started to also learn how to communicate better with people so that they could get and understand what it was that I was saying, what it was that I needed. Learning how to ask for help was very difficult for me. So those are some of the foundational things that we had started working on then.
And Miss Kay, how did you getting clarity around what it is that you want and what it is that you are? What's that? The aspirations in your vision. How did that bring you to where you are today? Today you are an executive producer. You are in
Oh
Hollywood.
my
You are
gosh.
living the life of your dreams, aren't you not?
Absolutely. It's so crazy to think that those conversations that we had in the year 2000 I mean, definitely, 1,000,000% helped shape me to be the person I am today so that I can be an effective communicator. And that translates in a variety of different ways, not just conversations with other people. And it applies in how I draft my resumes, how I draft proposals. It applies in how I give pitches. It applies in how I have interviews with people. It applies in my personal life with my partner, my spouse. It applies with my family. It applies with people out there in the world that I need to engage with that have something, whether it's information or something tangible, that I want to purchase, or have an issue with a status update, and I need to get something from them. It applies in so many different facets. It's almost overwhelming to see the positivity and the positive outcomes that have occurred since then.
Mm. And you weren't in LA at the time. You started your journey here.
Correct. Yes, in
So
Massachusetts. That's correct.
so what was that like? Were you afraid at any time to step into that enormous gap?
Constantly, but yeah, constantly. I definitely had what I call meltdowns, which is where I'm so consumed by my fears that I just start crying and I won't stop for a while. And I think your term for that was a breakdown, and there have been countless of those, absolutely. But again, also, in your coaching, what you had said repeatedly was that sometimes you have to have a breakdown before you can have a breakthrough.
Mm.
And that's so true.
Mm. Why are you emotional?
Because I don't think I quite acknowledge how many breakdowns there have been.
Mm.
And it's not like, oh, poor me, breakdowns. It's like, no, there's been equal number of breakthroughs.
Mm.
And it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm not crying because I'm sad or upset. It's like, wow, holy cow. I almost said something
Yeah.
else.
Your point is so awesome, Miss Kay, because so many people, me included, by the way, Stephen and I, we recently been dealing with some breakdowns, and the deal with somebody like you, somebody like myself and Stephen, or any person who's committed to an enormous vision, is we're not immune to breakdowns. Breakdowns are part of
No.
life. Breakdowns are always going to be there. The question is, who are you in the face of the breakdown? How do you respond in the face of the breakdown? Are you someone who's going to respond from that place of I give up, or from that place I'm a victim, from that place this is not for me? Or are you going to say, you know what, no, in the face of the breakdown, I'm going to keep moving because the breakdown is the opening for a breakthrough. And a breakthrough is, that thing that we want, but we don't think it's possible. And all of a sudden, it's there, possible, available for any of us. So I think your point is also, it's a great point, because it's a reminder to all of us, all of you, myself, Stephen included, that breakdowns are part of our everyday life. That's not going to stop. So if you're looking to figure out how not to have breakdowns, I'm gonna say good luck with that one. Let me know how that works out, because it ain't going to happen. Breakdowns are gonna be there.
Can
Miss
I just
Kay,
interject one thing?
yeah, go ahead.
Miss K, I'm just listening like I did last week, and the fact that where you just went and how vulnerable you just became, I got to tell you, I agree. You've made it, baby. I mean, the fact that you opened that up and just let everybody hear, and I can just imagine the audience that had just have connected with you because they heard your emotions and your authenticity. Bravo to you, Miss K.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
I second that. So, Miss Kay, let's go back for a moment because again, you've given us so many golden nuggets in this conversation so far. So here you are. You're how old were you at the time, by the way, or approximately? I know in Hollywood we don't talk about age, but I know you were
I was in college.
in college. Okay, so
Yeah.
college. So here you are, college. You're making an enormous decision to alter life, to move to a place where it's unknown, to leave behind the security of everything that everything that you have, right? To pursue, what you want, to pursue the dream. What if you were to speak it in one word or one sentence, what was that vision for you? How would you define what was the vision? Ultimately, that high arcing, you know, place that creates that the foundation from which we build everything.
In its most basic sense, I guess I would say that I just wanted something better.
Mm. So you,
Yeah, I didn't know what that was, but I had obviously lived, a certain type of life and environment up to that point, and I just felt like this isn't me. Like this
mm,
doesn't suit me. I don't like these clothes, as a metaphor. I don't like I don't like this doesn't sit well with me. I want something better.
you wanted something better, and that required for you to do things that
Go outside of my comfort zone.
beautiful and get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And again,
Yeah,
that also meant that there were going to be many roadblocks around along the way, but you knew that ahead of time, and that vision kept you moving forward.
absolutely.
So, Miss Gay, we're going to take a break. When we come back,
Okay.
we are going to now talk a little bit about now that we have that vision, foundational integrity, and how foundational integrity is everything to building the future, building what it is, going for what it is that we want. So we'll be right back. And welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Elix. I'm your host, Coach Elix, and we have Miss Kay having a conversation with us about her journey from college student to executive Hollywood producer. Miss Kay, welcome back.
Hi, thank you.
So we talked about that vision. Your vision was you wanted more. You knew that what you had in that moment was not what was fulfilling, what you were looking for, and wanted more. You didn't quite have it defined. You didn't know what the more looked like, but you knew it wasn't what you had right at that moment. So one of the things, and by the way, that's a pretty big order, right? I want more, you know.
Yeah.
And in your case, you decide I'm going to LA, I'm going to pursue something I want. It is a risky move, so it's a tall order, it's a big vision. So I often relate to visions like structures, like you're building a structure of sorts. And the bigger the vision, the bigger the structure. And the foundational integrity has nothing to do with morality. People often hear the word integrity and they think, oh, this is about my morals. It has nothing to do with morals. This is about foundational integrity. It's more of like that engineering definition. So a building, the most important part of any building is its foundation. And if you're building something and your foundation is compromised, likely what you build, it's not going to withstand. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't build something. There's plenty of buildings that are built on foundations that are not that are compromised, that are not whole and complete, but that eventually at some point those buildings, cannot withstand. So the same thing can be said with a vision. The bigger the vision, the more you have to pay attention to your foundational integrity. Now, does that mean, oh my God, I have to be perfect as a human being? No, of course not. As a human being, our foundational integrity is going to have cracks in and out all the time. This conversation is about giving you mastery at finding, at acknowledging when foundational integrity is compromised so that you can restore that gap in real time. You don't stay with a gap, that causes you to compromise your future, your vision for a day, for a week, for months at a time. So now, oftentimes, Ms. Kay, like any other clients, they struggle with identifying what their foundational, what are the gaps in my foundational integrity. So some of the things that I often tell people is look for conversations that need to be complete, that you need to have, that you haven't had. That would be an enormous gap in your foundational integrity. Things that you promise that you haven't fulfilled on. So promises that you have not honored. You've given your word to something and you've given your word to something, but you have not honored that. So unfulfilled promises, procrastination, projects that you need to take on, but you continue to avoid, and you don't do them. Again, those are the simplest examples of things that can cause gaps in our foundational integrity. And things that I often tell people is, listen, if there's something that if your brain is giving you a sign of not feeling okay about something, that often is a sign that there's a gap in your foundational integrity, something that you need to handle, like that monkey in the bag. We can pretend the monkey's not there, but the monkey's there. And unless you handle that, you're going to have a loss of power. You're going to feel disempowered. So having said that, Ms. Kay, along the way, were there any things that you knew were significant gaps in integrity that you needed to handle to continue to pursue your vision and your dream to get to LA and become a Hollywood producer?
Absolutely. And the move to Los Angeles in and of itself was one of those. It was procrastination, for sure. I had experience working in video production. Actually, so after Massachusetts, I moved to Texas, and had experience working in video production, and then switched a job into a different industry altogether. Not by choice, it was just layoffs. It happens. And was in a different industry for years after that, but still wanted to do video production. And I thought, well, someday I'll do it. I'll get around to it eventually. I don't want to be a starving artist, so I need to kind of, have some sort of nest egg before I just make that leap, because that's not where my background is, and I'm not good enough, all those normal conversations. And for me, it was procrastination. I think I was scared of a lot of different things. And, honestly, what sparked the move at the time was my father had passed away. And when that happened, it hit me for the first time. Like, I grew up knowing that, and I mean this genuinely, like in junior high and elementary school, like I grew up knowing that we're all going to die someday, not as like a morbid sort of perspective on life, but like I believed that was true, and it wasn't something I didn't think about. However, the reality of that reality didn't quite hit me until my father had passed away. And for me, that was like, it's now or never. His passing was absolutely unexpected, and nobody saw it coming. And that was the first time for me I was like, this has to happen. No more excuses, no more whatever, buying my plane ticket. And 2 months later, I was in Hollywood looking for work.
In Miss Kay, when, even if you decided, what, no more waiting, I'm just going to make this move. Along the way, did the procrastination persist at times?
Oh, absolutely. It is right now. Like, it's still there.
And so how do you manage that conversation right now? Because that's the point that I want listeners to take away. These things do not go away. It's not like you become perfect. It's about mastering, learning to know when they get in the way so that you can take action in real time. So how do you manage those conversations in real time today?
That is a great question. What you said a little bit ago about your body sort of tells you or senses that something is off or something's wrong. That's it. It's like a muscle, being more and more in tune to that. I'm currently working on a show that I'm very passionate about. And literally even this week, earlier, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, I was like, something feels off. Oh, that's right. I haven't finished typing up my script. And I've been saying that I would do that for the last 2 weeks, and I still haven't done it. So it was acknowledging that weird sensation and then reminding myself, why am I doing this? Which for me is my ultimate goal as to why I want to produce this specific show. And that reminder, getting present, I guess, or reacquainting myself intimately with my purpose to achieve that goal is what had me get in action. And I only have a couple pages. The script is already done, but I like to handwrite. So it needs to just get typed up. So now I only have a couple pages left.
So what you just said is, again, being clear as to what your purpose is, and sometimes, whether we use the word purpose, whether we use the word vision, whether we use the word goal, sometimes it all leads to the same place. It's about having clarity about what that is. And it may be different for different people. So whatever that looks like for you, it's okay so long you're clear as to what that looks like for you. You also make a great point. Oftentimes I tell people, listen, when you are experiencing a loss of power of any kind, those, and we all do, we all have those moments where we feel less than, when we feel we're not doing enough, where we feel we're not accomplished enough, when we feel we're stuck. When you're having a loss of power, the best and first place that you should always look to. This is my advice to anyone who's listening. Where is your foundational integrity compromised? What are the gaps in your foundational integrity? Where are your actions not aligned with that vision, that purpose, that goal? The moment you realize, you get clarity, oh, wait a minute, I said I'm committed to this, yet I haven't done the work that I know I need to do.
Exactly.
And the moment you take action, by the way, because acknowledging something without action means nothing. It just means
Correct.
acknowledging something. But the moment you take action, and I tell people, listen, just one thing at a time, restore your foundational integrity in one area. And the moment you do, you will feel that power be
Yeah,
restored for yourself.
absolutely.
So when we come back, we're going to take another break. We are going to get to what happens once you have clarity of the purpose, once you understand what the roadblocks are, and you don't allow yourself to get stuck by those roadblocks. When you restore integrity, foundational integrity in real time, then it's all about planning the work and working the plan. Because I say to everyone, if you have a goal, but it's not written anywhere, it's not a goal, it's an illusion. So in order to have a goal, you need to write it and you need to have a plan. You need to plan the work and work in the plan. So Miss K, when we come back, I want to talk to you about what did your plan look like and how did you plan the work and how did you work that plan to get you from college to being a Hollywood producer today. And we'll be right back. And hello and welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Elix. We're coming to you live from Cape Cod in this beautiful Friday afternoon winter wonderland here in New England. And I'm super excited because I have Miss Kay, executive producer in Hollywood, a friend, a client, long time ago, and somebody who is an extraordinary example of the power of coaching. So welcome back, Miss Kay.
Hello, thank you. Welcome.
So we've been talking about how Miss Kay went from being in college, living here in New England, to moving, leaving everything behind, going to LA, pursuing her dream, and becoming an executive producer. And we talked about your vision. We talked about roadblocks that got in the way, the things that you persist, integrity, foundational integrity, those gaps in our foundation. And now I want to talk about planning the work and working the plan because, again, a goal that does not have, it's not written, it's not a goal, it's an illusion. So, get a grip, people. If you have goals, but you don't have them in writing, you don't have goals, you have some illusion that someday, somehow, you're going to get something done, but it's not going to happen. Again, not now. Now, goals, I often say you have to have metrics. They have to be measurable. So two things that I look for is how will you know that something got done and by when? There has to be a by when. And often I nudge the people that I work with to be willing to take on big goals, to not hold on to fear, be willing to embrace the fear and choose a goal that they know may be challenging, but it's what they want nevertheless. And I imagine that moving to LA was a challenging goal for you nevertheless, Miss Kay. So
Absolutely.
tell me, what did your plan look like and how did you execute that plan? Why don't you tell us?
Goodness. It's so big. Well, I guess at the time, I wanted to essentially be part of a team or the leader of a team. I guess I didn't quite have a distinguish, but I wanted to make content that gave people hope. And while I had no idea how to do that, the most basic thing is I knew that I needed to learn how to produce my own content. So in order to learn how to produce my own content, I needed to get employed and be around and be part of video productions. So I started to what's called freelance. I had a normal, regular day job, and essentially I would take on these one-day gigs or shoots where I would be on set helping out with whatever was needed for that day, for that video production. And the more of that I did, that took about 3 years, I would say, the more comfortable I got being on set and the more familiar I got with the language that's used in video productions and the different facets of every production team and what each person did, what their role was. I started to build not just a rapport with people who were in the industry, but also a roster of people that I enjoyed working with. And then from there, I got a full-time job managing productions where I was exposed to being able to direct, which is something that is very specific because it's client-based and it's knowing who your client is, understanding your client's audience, and making sure, because you're the person responsible essentially, that the content that got produced or filmed that day is going to meet the audience goals and the client's needs for their content. And the more I started to do that, the more I started to be able to understand how I wanted to do this for myself. And the more familiar I got with how to do this for myself, I started to develop a plan for a show that I could produce independently because there's a lot of money involved when you make content, and I did not want to be hindered by not having money. essentially, obviously there are opportunities for pitches and proposals to have an idea or a show bought, but I still wanted to be able to produce it in a way that was very economical. That way, when it comes time to produce and to pitch, to get my shows purchased, essentially, or a series bought, that kind of a thing, I would essentially be not just marketable or valuable, but I wanted to make it as easy as possible for the streaming service and the platforms to want to buy my content, because the dollars attached to it will not be in the millions. I guess I'll put it that way.
Yes.
Which is average. So I wanted to be more desirable because of the low cost involved, with the huge outcome and the large following of viewers who love my content, if that helps make sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And one of the things I want to point out is how often, for listeners, if you're listening to Miss Kay, notice that she knew that there were things that may be big barriers, like money. But you didn't allow the money conversation to stop you from pursuing a goal that was important for you. You
Correct.
found ways to
navigate,
navigate the barrier and still pursue what's important for you. So, listeners, oftentimes I hear this all the time. Entrepreneurs, I really want to pursue this, but I can't afford this, or I don't know if I can do it while not doing this. You have to find a way to plan the work and work in the plan so that you can identify what those major barriers may be for you and learn how to navigate around them, because there's always a way. Is that not so in your experience, Ms. Kay?
Absolutely. And it wasn't for me, it wasn't just, it's the money. It was also the time.
Yes.
I was traveling. I was already assigned to other shows and series, and I was traveling a lot, and I still wanted to be able to produce, my show, despite being on the road and despite not, having or not wanting to have, I guess, the funding or the roadblocks in something that I wanted to be able to essentially make on my own, and not have bottlenecks of, waiting on other people for XYZ. Like, there's so many different things that can hold me up. And I essentially wanted to create a show where those barriers would not be there.
Yeah, that's fabulous. Ms. Kay, we're about to close the show. We have about 2 minutes left. But I would love for you, to provide those who are listening, especially those who are on the fence there. They have entrepreneurial mindsets, they have goals, and they're on the fence. They're held by fear of the unknown. What would you tell them?
I would tell them what you told me when we originally started working together, is have a goal and be clear on what that is, but be flexible in how you get there.
I love that.
So maybe your idea or your path of what you think is going to get you there, maybe that's not necessarily the case. You have no idea what's actually going to get you there. Start down your path and then be flexible to how things will change and shift, and just keep moving towards that goal, no matter what.
I love that. You know why I love that? Because one of the things that I remind myself every day is how important it is to be committed to something, but not be attached to the result.
Yes. Yep.
There's a distinction, be committed, but don't be attached. Not being attached doesn't mean not being committed. You can be really committed to something while being flexible, as you put it. Be flexible to the result. That's beautiful. Miss Audra, I am so happy that you took the time to join us, today again. Thank you for sharing your time, your attention so generously. And I can't wait to continue to work with you because Mr. Steven the Medium, and I we have lots of plans for the future. And Mr. Steven the Medium,
Yes.
you have anything to say to Miss Kay?
Just that I'm in awe, and I cannot wait to meet Miss K in person. But it has to be when this COVID is out of here, so I can give you like the biggest hug.
Well, we're on the way. We're on the
Yes,
way.
exactly.
We're getting vaccinated soon. So listen, Miss Kay, thank you so much. You have a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, whatever
Happy
you
holidays.
Celebrate it,
Thank you.
beautifully and safe with your family. Okay.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I think it's time for us to, it's the end of the show. So we have to say goodbye to all of you guys. Thank you for joining us today. Next week, we will not be here. Actually, we won't be here for the next 2 weeks because we'll be celebrating Christmas and New Year's. So on my behalf, have an incredible Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Whatever you celebrate with your family, but make sure that you do it safely. So
And wait a minute. I'll be here next week. We'll
you
both
will?
be here through the static we will.
Oh, I don't think I will, but you will.
Yeah, you just happen to have a Friday show with Christmas and New Year's, but Wednesday, me and Mark are going full force.
Oh, so through the static, you guys had to tune in through the static. We will be there for you, coming to you live from Cape Cod. And anything else, Steve?
No, just StephenTheMedium.com for anything you want to find on me.
And don't forget, look at Steven's new offering for the holidays. It's a perfect gift for you, for your family, for your friends. And you can find it at Steven the Medium or any of his social media accounts. And for me, you can find me at Coach Elix. And I love having this conversation with you every Friday. Happy holidays, everyone. See you when we come back.
Thank you, Mark.